I've always wanted to be a scientist. Mostly, actually, I've always wanted to work for the space program. And people used to tell me growing up, you know, you're going to have to be an engineer if you want to work for the space program. And I had more of a fondness for science. I didn't really care for math or physics too much. So I wasn't quite sure. And then one day in high school, we dissected cats. And that was it. It sealed the deal. I became a scientist. That was totally cool. Look, I love cats. I have 2 at home. But I realized right at that moment that the body was the ultimate machine, and it wasn't even something that was made by a human. So that became the deal winner for me. I became a scientist, and I have since then got to work for some research projects with some really cool ideas, both on and off the planet. And so today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the importance of communicating science research, because I often get asked in my field, so tell me about what you do, what the research is you represent. And I'm so passionate, I go on and on and on and say, look at this, look at this, look at this. And I get a head nod, yeah, great. And then as I look a little closer, I'm quite certain I'm seeing this look of, so what? No one actually asks me so what, but you can kind of tell they're going, how is this relevant to me and the world I live in today? It sounds great, sounds fun, sounds cool. And I go, oh, did I speak science nerd again? Oh, I lost them with the technical jargon, right? So I often miss the other things of science just because I'm not fully engaged in what that person needs to know, which is relevant to what they're working on. So I wanted to start by saying science is cool and science is important. And I picked this example to share one with you today about the fact that science is cool. And mostly we have a lot of artists in the crowd, so this is why I picked this one. This is actually from The Scientist magazine in an article I read last week, and it was promoted by the Facebook page Science is Awesome. And it was a story about this artist in California who feeds his flies a mixture of sugar water and watercolor. And the way flies digest their food is that they liquefy it first, then they suck it up and regurgitate it, and suck it up and regurgitate it, and suck it up and regurgitate it. And if you put them out on canvases, it turns out they can make a pretty painting with their digestive activity, which means something to someone out there. And I thought it was really neat because the article taught us about what a fly is doing when it lands on your fries. Okay, yuck. It's relevant to us. And you learned something pretty neat in the science, right? And it was engaging. So, but you know what? Science is also important. And it's real important for scientists to communicate to the public because well-informed citizens are the basis for a well-functioning democratic society, right? So we all know knowledge is power. Yeah, and while ignorance may be bliss, lack of knowledge is fear-inducing, and it can cause uncertainty. And those two things combined in the masses can breed a stifling of innovation and scientific progress in the world around us and important things that we care about. As scientists, if we don't communicate the value of our science, we just risk losing funding. But the public risks missing a main science message that can help you make informed decisions in the chaos of the science in the world around you. For example, what do you know about the war on cancer? You've learned it's not just a war, it's a series of complicated battles. Have you been able to even understand the science behind cancer or the many types of cancers? How about vaccine development? Are you for it? Are you against it? Do you have the scientific evidence in your hand to be able to read it and understand it? Probably not. How about frankenfoods, genetically modified foods? Is eating organic really healthier? I mean, you gotta know, right? Because you have to feed yourselves. So how do you make that kind of a decision? Do we have a soul? I mean, some scientists are actually studying souls and whether even souls have mass, for example, while other scientists are telling us, hey, we're just a big walking bag of biochemicals and neural networks responding to the environment around us. We don't really have souls. And then there's curiosity-driven science. Mostly all of us in this room and beyond this room have an innate desire to learn who we are, where we come from. Are we alone out there? Who else is out there? What else is out there? But really, really important is the fact that science needs to be communicated to these guys, right? Oh, hey. So These guys hold about $140 billion in federal R&D money, and they have to make the decisions that drive our future investments in science. Where are they going to spend that money in science in the future? So scientists need to do a fantastic job of communicating to these guys where we should invest our money for this country to improve our lives in the future. So I took the opportunity to share some jargon with you guys today. So I bet in the audience, and maybe outside of the audience someone knows, but I bet in the audience, most of you don't know what either one of these things is. It's jargon. The top, I tell you, I found at a graffiti website. I don't know what it is. It's jargon to me, because I'm not in that discipline. Maybe it has to do with money. The bottom, right? I don't know any better. My idea is maybe it's money. The bottom looks like some kind of scientific formula, and as it turns out, it is a scientific formula for how to find the best parking space for your car. It's relevant. I was able to explain it to you. The top one, I still don't know, so it's not relevant to any one of us in here, but it's an example of jargon. It's an example of ways that we need to improve how we communicate our disciplines. So the next time you're looking around at science, in the wonders around you, science is everywhere. Know that there is some researcher or more, one or more out there who's meticulously documenting every facet of what you're looking at to the T and giving it to a communication specialist who can make a big pretty poster to be able to explain to you what you're looking at, right? And there are researchers who do that. Now, maybe the best way to build leaders for tomorrow is excavating, researching, and restoring what we find in the leaders of the past. We can learn from them. Maybe the best way that we improve our safety and advancements here on Earth are through the everyday scientific breakthroughs that occur on the biggest, baddest laboratory off of the planet that is doing things that the unexpected now becomes expected. I'm encouraged. I've actually seen over the last 10 years an improvement in the way that scientists are communicating. Actually, science is becoming way cool, apparently effing cool. So we have a website here that's dedicated to bringing scientists and lay people, the public, together to have meaningful conversations and engaging the public. We have a Facebook group with 7.5 million followers. I mean, hello, if you have something that has an expletive and the word science in it, yes, you're going to get me to follow that too. I mean, these guys post daily beautiful images of the science around us with a simple one-liner explaining what it is we see and how it's relevant to us. We have science cheerleaders, an organization dedicated to science outreach by using their NBA and NFL cheerleading stars, who also majored in science. Now, she's holding up a microbial swab full of microbes that she just collected off of the basketball court of the Orlando Magic, right? She's cool, and she's going to share that with others around the country who are doing the same thing, engaging the public in science. So then we have celebrities, thankfully, the groundbreakers, the current ones that entertain us now weekly on TV. In fact, she's got a PhD in neuroscience. And we're thankful for these guys because they not only entertain, but I bet you walk away learning at least one thing about how science impacts your lives. And lastly, right, the sassy Martian robot who has gained 1.5 million followers on Twitter, who tells us whether you thought you were interested or not in the composition of rocks. Granted, they're from Mars, which is pretty cool. But everybody loves this Martian rover who's brought new heights to NASA, pun intended, with regards to social media. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention TED, these TED Talks. Academic researchers come and give these TED Talks not because it boosts their career, as it turns out in a study released this summer. It doesn't boost their careers, actually. But the scientists come and give these talks because they know that it's a great platform to engage and, by TED's very own rules, entertain and educate at the same time. So these platforms are encouraging, but I can tell you where there's a discipline of science, there's a scientific discipline that studies these scientists, okay? So now the question becomes, how do we come up with some objective measures for this country to show the impact that science has had on our lives? How do we offer our science policymakers, our American public, ways to show, yes, science has value, other than what these entertainment or these other engaging means do show? And that is, we've got to objectify the evidence, because ultimately we're scientists. How do you do that? You'd be surprised to know there's no good way to objectify, to objectively measure all of the scientific progress that's happening in our country. But maybe through projects like this is actually something called a knowledge diffusion map. That's a tool that's under development right now as a way to potentially help tell us something about the science metrics that we see in the US. Maybe we can see over time that as scientists start to collaborate with each other and co-publish with each other, that their knowledge spreads to nodes and nodes and nodes, and over time you have this huge network of overlapping collaboration, maybe within a discipline. And maybe this tells us about, wow, this kind of collaboration not only advances innovation and technology development, but it shows that science is moving and science is actually kind of beautiful. So now, nobody's ever outright asked me this question, and nobody in this audience probably will. But somebody somewhere out there still is asking, who cares? I've got other things to worry about. I venture to say, you care, we all care. If you eat the food, if you drink the water and you breathe the air, that all comes from Mother Nature. She's the best scientist of all. And that, I think, is something that we can all understand. Thank you.